Hello everyone and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ahmed and today we are going to learn factorization by grouping. So let's not wait anymore and start learning about this topic. So today we are going to learn factorization by grouping. Before, in our previous video, we have learned factorizing by GCF. And what we did there was we had questions and then we grouped the questions. We took the common terms outside the bracket and then wrote the rest of the equation inside the bracket, and that was factorized. However, here in factorization by grouping, I highly suggest first you watch my video on factorizing by GCFs, so you will have a much better understanding on factorization by grouping. So here in factorization by grouping, however, you have questions such as AH plus AK plus BH plus BK. So in our previous video, we had at least one term that was common in all of the components. Okay, no matter we have 5 components, 6 components, here we have 4 components, and in all 4 of them there's nothing in common. Okay, so how can we factorize them? If we had any term that was common in all 4 of these, what we would do is we would take that common term and write it outside the bracket and then write the rest of the equation without the common term. In this case, as we don't have any term that is in common in all of these components, we can group this expression. How is that? We can make, here's one group and here is the other group. Now, what's the use behind this group? See, in the first group we have this expression and we have A common, right? And in the second group we have this expression and we have B in common, right? So our main goal in factorizing is to break down the whole expression and make it simple by using brackets and then writing one common term. Instead of writing the whole expression, you just write one common term that multiplies with each component, so that later on it still makes sense as the question is. Now here, as I told, we don't have all 4 components anything common in them, we group them into 2 groups. So here is one group and here is another group. In the first group we see A is common, in the second group I see B is common. So for the first group we can take A outside the bracket and then write the rest of the equation without A. So H plus K. Now if you want to clarify this, if you want to see whether the solution is correct or not, you can do it yourself. As I told in my previous video, H plus K means A times H plus A times K. We learned that in brackets and simplifying that in a question like this, what we do is we take the term that is outside and multiply with each of the terms that are inside. So if we multiply A with H, we will get AH. If we multiply A with K, we will get AK. Okay? So, and for the next one, I see B is common in both the components. So I can write B outside the bracket and then write the rest of the equation as it is. And that's simple. It's just that easy. Now, if you again want to see whether your solution is correct, you can always go for multiplying the answer and see if it matches with the question. If you multiply B with H, you get B times H is BH, B times K is BK. So it's just that simple. Okay, let's do another example. AX plus AY plus BX plus BY. Okay, so let's group them. Now here we can group them like this, right? Just like before, you made a group. Then first group I see A is common, second group I see B is common. So for the first group I write A, okay, X plus Y, write the rest of the equation without A, plus B is common, so I write B, X plus Y, write the rest of the equation without B. and there you go, you factorized it. Okay, let's do another example. AY plus AZ plus BY plus BZ. Okay, so again, group them. So here we have group, so you can think of these as different expressions and then later on add them together. So in the first group, A is common, second one, B is common. So for the first group, A is common, so Y plus Z, you write the rest of the equation as it is. And for the second group, B is common, so you write B outside the bracket and then the rest of the equation as it is. Just that simple. Okay, let's do XS minus XT. That's a horrible T. XS minus XT plus YS minus YT. Okay, so again, we can group these. So here's the first group. Here is the second group. That's not a good box. Okay, so in the first group, I see X is common. So I take X outside the bracket. Now, here is something different. I have to take X outside the bracket, and then the different thing is going. So here I see X is common in both the terms in the first group. So I can take X outside the bracket, write S, because X times S is XS, minus T, because X times minus T is minus XT. Okay, and in the second group, we can take Y as common, and then write S minus T, because Y times S will give us YS, Y times T will give us minus YT. Just that simple. Okay, so let's do AM minus BM minus AN plus BN. So again, group them. So here I grouped them into two groups. In the first group, I see M is M outside the bracket, and then we have A minus B, right? Because you write the rest of the equation without M. So here in the second group, N is common, right? So we can write N outside plus N. Why plus N? Because minus AN, if you expand it, just means minus A times plus N. Okay, that is why we are just taking the N outside. We are not taking A outside. So we are taking only N outside. So only the positive symbol comes out. Okay, so we have to write plus N and then minus A plus B. That's it. Just that simple and that easy. Okay, so let's do one more example. MS minus 2 mt squared minus ns minus 2 mt squared. Okay, so again, group them. So here are the two groups. Now, in the first group, I see m is common, so I write m outside the bracket. I write s minus 2t squared, and that's simple. Okay, in the second group, I see n is common, but there is a little bit change. Now, that is, if you can see the third component of this whole expression, which is this, minus ns, right? This component here, the n that we are going to take common, so we can take it outside the bracket, is negative, and in the fourth component, it's positive. So, what do we do when it is like this? Well, that's pretty simple. You just take minus sign outside the bracket. Okay, so you just take minus sign outside the bracket. Okay, so minus n and then plus s as usual, right? S was plus, so we just write s. Now, what will you do here? If you write minus 2t squared, later on when you multiply minus n times minus 2t squared will become positive 2nt squared. So what do you do here? You must write plus 2t squared. Okay, so what you do is when you have, in fact, let me erase this, shouldn't have done all this. So what you do is when you have the third component being negative, so here the third component is negative, you just take the negative sign outside with the common term. So here, this is the common term, and here, this is the common term. With the common term, you take the negative sign outside, and for the fourth component, you just write it as a positive. Okay, just that simple, that easy. Okay, now if it was, instead of minus, if it was plus here already, then you would have to write a minus here. Why? So that later on when you multiply these two, it will become plus. Okay, so you have to figure out your own way. So here is minus ns. When you multiply minus n with 2t squared, then it is going to become minus 2t squared, right? Minus 2nt squared. But if you write it positive, then it is going to become minus 2nt squared. So you have to think out your way and then do it. So if you want the solution for this, m times s, that is ms as here, m times minus 2t squared, that is minus 2t squared m, or same thing as minus 2mt squared, and then here minus n times s is minus ns, and minus n times plus 2t squared is minus 2t squared n, or same thing as minus 2nt squared, same thing. So with that said, you have understood factorization by grouping. It's that simple, that easy. It's not hard at all whatsoever. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.